I don't know if I read it in a book or if it was just intuitive, but there was things along the way where it's just like, this is so frustrating. And like, I want to just stop. This is so stupid. Especially when you're only making like $200 a month or something. It's not worth it. All this frustration, my email's down, I can't figure it out. There's no IT department at home. Like, so you're just figuring out everything on your own. And I had a thought, and again, I can't remember if I read it or if it was intuitive, but I had a thought where like anybody else running a business, this is where they're giving up. So if you just be the person that just says, no, I'm just going to push through this. There's much less competition on the other side of this because a lot of people are giving up here. Everybody's having email problems and everybody's having profit problems and revenue problems and marketing problems. Everybody's having this. So if you just keep going, less and less competition, it's like climbing a mountain, right? Like you're going up the mountain and people are getting tired and they're just like, oh, it's getting late. I'm going to turn around and go home. Like you just keep going. And when you get to the top, there's nobody there because nobody pushed through all the way to the top, right? That's how I saw it. So now it's just second nature. Any problem, I just laugh. I'm like, this is great. Good, more problems, because this means there's less competition on the other side of this, and my life gets easier.
So I have to ask you this question because Nick and I were just talking about this on Monday. When you said something that's like really powerful, I just want to pull it up here. So this is like, hold on, I lost it. Nick, you know what I'm about to pull up?
No. Oh, yeah, the graph, right? The Hormozy graph.
Yeah. So there's something like
Jason. Do you listen to Hormozy at all, Jason?
Is that the guy, the $100 million leads book guy? Yeah, I have his book. I haven't read it.
Yeah, I think you like it. He's actually really tactical and good.
All right, here it is. Yeah. So,
all right, he's gonna share his screen.
This is exactly what I wanted to dive into because you went through this and you said like there was no competition on the other side because everybody quits. So,
it gets easier the further you go.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
So you have the emotional cycle of change. So you have uninformed optimism, which is like you're hopeful. You're like, this is going to be the thing. This is how I'm going to become free. You start it, and then you get the email problems that you mentioned. You get the domain problems. You get all this stuff, and you start having informed pessimism. Then what happens is you hit the valley of despair. This right here is where most people quit and they die. And then what ends up happening is they will either quit and repeat the same cycle over and over, or like they'll push through to success. And then once you fix the email and go throughout all that, you have informed optimism and then success and fulfillment where you're having $300.
That's exactly what I just said. The guy did a chart of exactly what I just said. Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Amazing. It is exactly.
Yeah, I can't believe we were literally just talking about this on Monday. So then I'm curious, at what point did you know to push through instead of pivot? Because I feel like when you're at the valley of despair, a lot of people are like, oh, maybe I should change it. Maybe I should change what I'm doing or something. And then they pivot, but then they end up lying to themselves and they go through this. You said, I'm going to push through. So how did you know to push through versus pivoting?
Yeah. Omid, also kill your screen though, because for the back end recording.
Because I knew what I wanted. I knew what life I wanted. It's like the dream life. So just quit and never get it, or just push it. Is it that big of a deal? Like you'll figure it out. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Let me push back on you for a second, Jason, because you were in a unique situation where your shit was working. And so there's a lot of more businesses fucking fail than they win, just period. And so
like 95%.
Yeah. And so like the advice can't boilerplate be just stick with it forever, because if you're in a bad business for whatever reason, it doesn't work out, the problem you're solving isn't legit. Yeah. You need to have discernment to know when to move on, when to pivot, when to change. Correct. And so the real question is, how do you know when to? I have an answer here, but I'm far less experienced than you. So I'm curious to know what your answer would be. Take yourself out of it for a moment, because your situation was a bit of an outlier because your shit was working from day one. So what would you say if your shit wasn't working from day one?
Number one, not profitable. If you're like losing money and money more, it's just becoming risky to your financial future. That's probably something to think about. Or if it's affecting your well-being, your happiness, you can only take a certain period of time where like this sucks, late nights trying to figure things out, or losing money here and there. Like you only do that for so much time. You said, oh, it worked out for you. Yeah, but there's a lot of times where it wasn't working. And
really?
Yeah,
know that about
definitely. Late nights trying to figure things out, and like, well, I'll just call in sick tomorrow and figure it out. I got to do this. Yeah, so you can only do that for so long. So, like, I don't know, if you have a restaurant and just you can't get people in the door, like, it doesn't matter how good your food is. You got to figure out your marketing, or your prices are too high, or something. Like, do something. And if you feel like you've done everything and you're just bleeding your bank account, then maybe it's time to close the doors. I don't know. For me, it was more like a frustration thing. Like, this is so annoying. But if you do it, then it'll be done. And then that's one. Think of it like if you're starting a business, there's a million things you got to do. And every time, it's not like you're like, here's a list and then one, next, two, next. You figure them out along the way, right? So this thing falls in your lap and now you got to figure it out. So, okay, figure this out. And now there's the next thing, figure it out. And the biggest things you got to figure out are up front. And that's where all the people give up.
Yeah.
The things you got to figure out later are easy. Like just how to motivate somebody, an employee that's, just the other things they're just easy now. Like these are such small things to figure out. The big things are up front.